Yeah, boy. Oh, so many layers. Oh, here we go. Oh my God. That is a naughty, naughty treat. Wow. This is sensational. Wow. So a lot of you guys always ask me how much time I actually spend in this garden to grow my food. It's a good question, and it's actually hard for me to quantify. I would say it's probably around 6 hours a week, and that is spread out. So often I'll have like half an hour spare in the evening one day and I'll go in, and some days I have no time in the week and I'll just do a full day on the weekend. It's so fun. I love it. It's my passion, and I don't mind sparing the time. I'd rather be in the garden than go into a social event. And for me also, it's a huge investment in my future. I know I'm gonna, that work is gonna equal getting beautiful, delicious, nourishing food in the future. And I won't have to go to the supermarket too. But I'm learning there's certain plants that I can put in the ground where I don't have to do any work to it, and it just keeps on producing stuff. Let's take this kale in this bed, for example. I've got a few different varieties, starting with some variegated kale. Now this is so exciting. It's also called frostbitten kale, and it's got this beautiful white two-tone color, green and white. It looks beautiful on the plate, and it has a great taste too. And this is the first time I've grown this, but I've noticed it's a kale that has just gone to seed really fast, which means it's gone to flower. So in a few weeks' time, this is going to be inedible, really. It's going to want to release its seeds and grow more kale. Yes, I could just leave this and potentially, those seeds will drop into the soil and produce more kale, but we don't live in that perfect world, and a garden sometimes it doesn't quite work out like that. It's very easy with flowers, but I've not had that happen with kale yet. So I would have to sow more seeds to produce more of this lovely variety. Now this is some beautiful Tuscan kale with the red vein there. This plant will last me about 6 months here, and I'll have a beautiful supply of it. But once that time comes to an end, I'll have to sow more seeds and then have another plant. So it takes some work. Same with my lovely curly kale here. However, I've just come across, and luckily enough, got a couple of plants of a kale that just gives me an unlimited supply year after year, and it won't or rarely ever go to flower. This is called Dow Benton's kale. Now, believe it or not, this pumps out kale year round, and you don't have to sow any seeds for it. It's like a tree of kale. It's called a perennial, which means exactly that. It just comes back constantly, and it's hardy, so it lasts through the winter, and I've been eating these leaves for ages. I've only got 2 plants. It adds lovely height and color to the garden. These were given to me by my good friend Adam, whose garden we visited recently, and he taught us how to protect your garden from slugs, because I was having so much slug damage. Now I noticed this plant actually hasn't got that much slug damage at all, so it seems really hardy, and it's got a delicious flavor and is packed full of vitamins and minerals. But I'm overawed with it. There's so much of it. I need to keep coming up with ways of how to use it other than just steaming it and having it as a salad. So I think I'm gonna pick a bunch now and take it to the kitchen and try and make something delicious, and hopefully try and preserve it for a huge amount of time. I've literally pruned this to almost a skeleton-like look of a kale plant, but this will just produce new, beautiful, big, juicy leaves in a matter of days, if not just a week. So I haven't taken that much at all, really. Look how big my basket is. Let's get to the kitchen and think what on earth I'm going to do with it all. Oh, it's a bit windy. Look how much kale there is there. How much would have that cost me at the supermarket? A lot of money, I'm sure. And I'll get the exact same harvest in just a week or two's time. That's how great this variety of kale is. Now, I was contemplating what to make with it. Now, because it's such a big harvest, and because I actually want to preserve this, I think we have to, use some of that amazing Korean cuisine inspiration and make somewhat of a kimchi with it. I've got a load of coriander as well outside, and nasturtium leaves, which are very peppery, wasabi-like, and some rhubarb. I think those 4 ingredients together would be an incredible kimchi. So that's what I'm gonna do. And the good thing about kimchi, not only is it gonna preserve it, it's gonna enhance all these flavors, but you can utilize it in other dishes. So we'll also make something delicious with the kimchi once it's been fermented. And I'm gonna chop everything up pretty fine and get it into a big mixing bowl. My first memories of cooking were at home with my dad, about 7 or 8 years old, when he was making evening meals, and I was so fascinated by the knives and the fire that I wanted to get involved. My dad started teaching me how to chop and use the chef's knives at home. Early on was quite critical. He would tell me that I needed to be a bit more uniform and a bit more precise. And it was a good little teaching for me and made me realize the importance of having a good quality chef's knife at home. So I think the relationship between a knife and a cook is basically sacred. And that's why I'm so proud to share with you this incredible, beautiful work of art. This is a knife I've been making for a long while now with the top knife makers, Kato. It features nods to me throughout, such as the handle, which is made from oak, Welsh oak from my homeland, and Japanese steel, the finest steel, which has my chef knife and rose tattoo embezzled on the blade. It's perfectly balanced, that I can balance it on just one finger thanks to this weighted design that actually has my signature on the back. Now this for me is a knife for life, and I'm so happy to extend this to you so you can get your hands on one. Inside each box there's a package of seeds to grow one of my favorite ingredients and a lucky coin, but in certain 5 boxes there's a gold lucky coin. If you get a gold coin, you're invited for lunch with me. So good luck getting a knife. Click the link beneath this video if you want one. I really cannot recommend this enough. I'm so grateful to work with Kato and also just to be able to share this gift with you guys. Gosh, that was a lot of chopping. Luckily I got my limited edition Kato knife. What I'm gonna do now is blend up a real flavoursome kimchi based sauce that's going to coat everything. So into a little blender I'm going to add an onion. I'm also going to add some ginger and some garlic, plus a dollop of miso and some nori. That's going to add a taste of the sea flavor. We'll also add some coconut sugar for a little sweetness, some soy sauce, and then blitz that until smooth. It's this thing again, isn't it? I can never get these to work. Someone invent me a good blender. There you go. Oh, that smells intensely good. So what's the next task? I think we're gonna get everything into this big mixing bowl. Hopefully it all fits, along with my pureed onion and beautiful flavoursome mixture here. I'll add my gochugaru, which is the Korean red chili flakes. If you don't have those, you can just use any sort of red chili of your choice. And we'll also add some sesame seeds as well. Then I'm gonna weigh the contents of that bowl and add 3% of the weight in sea salt. That's enough to keep any of the bad bacteria out, but let the good bacteria that's on the skins of the kale and the rhubarb and all the herbs to thrive. All right, so the salt's going in now. That's gonna draw out a load of liquid. To help that, we need to massage it. So I'm gonna wash my hands and give this a real good massage. If you have got a sensitivity to hot stuff, put some gloves on for this step, but my hands are like oven proof. Oh, this is stinging my eyes. It's gonna be pungent, but this is gonna taste amazing. I'll wash my hands now and pack this into my sterilized jar. See those juices? That's exactly what we want. Natural brine, saucy brine. I think I've just perfectly measured this. With a little packing, I think this is one complete, perfectly filled jar. To cap off my kimchi, I grab a large nasturtium leaf, or you could just use a cabbage leaf on top, and then we place our weight. This just holds everything beneath the brine that's going to be created during the fermentation process. So my crazy kale kimchi. It's been fermenting for about 3 or 4 weeks actually. After about a week and a half, I put it in the fridge to cool it down slightly, and that will slow the fermentation. It's time to give it a taste now and make something with it. A lot of you guys actually asked me what I serve my ferments with. Now for me, I think a plate isn't complete until it's got something fermented on top of it. It's so good for our gut health. The more I learn about fermented food, the more I want to dive deeper into it. Now kimchi, it stands up on its own. You can just put this with some rice and it would be the most incredible dish. But today I think what I'm going to do is create, you know, the scallion pancakes, those Chinese incredible crispy pancakes. I want to do something like that, but with this. So we're replacing the scallion with my chopped crazy kale kimchi. I think that would be great. But before we get into that recipe, let's give this a taste and see what it's like. Oh wow, look at the rhubarb in that. That is vibrant. What I noticed when you ferment soft things like leaves, they do wilt down an awful lot. It's basically being cooked in that fermentation process. So having things like rhubarb or carrot or daikon radish or radishes or something with a bit more texture and substance to it helps add that crunch. So here it goes, let's have a little taste. Oh my God, I could literally eat that whole jar right now. Wow. It's so umami. It blows my mind every time. when you put together ingredients for a ferment, there's something that happens in there that enriches that umami-ness and gives it that meatiness and that bold flavor that we all love. So tasty. And this is going to hold up so well in the dish that I'm going to make with it. So into my bowl, I just have some all-purpose organic flour that I'm going to add a touch of baking powder to, a sprinkle of sea salt. We'll mix that up, and then I'll make a well in the center and add a little sesame oil plus some water. Mix it all up until it forms a smooth dough. So as you can see, it takes a little bit of kneading. I really want to get a super smooth and elasticated dough. So I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes of kneading. And you want to try and add as minimal flour as possible. So it is sticking to my hands right now, but the more you work the dough, the more that gluten will bind together and it won't be sticky. After kneading, lightly oil the dough and the bowl and cover over with the wet towel and let it rest for about an hour. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is finely chop this kimchi. We want it super fine. We don't want any big pieces that are going to break through the dough. So I just gave the dough a little extra knead and cut it into 4 equal pieces. I'm going to now just lightly oil the work surface. That's going to stop it from sticking as we roll it out, because we don't want to be adding more flour to this. I'm going to roll this into a really thin and long rectangle. I'll then brush over a little sesame oil and spread my chopped kale kimchi throughout the dough before rolling it up into a long sausage. I realized that less is more when it comes to the amount of kimchi that you put inside here. Not only is it really flavoursome and powerful that you don't actually need that much, but also just when it comes to rolling it up, you don't want too much in there because it could burst. After all, I rolled this so thin, and now it's time to roll it up on itself, and that's where you want to try and create as many rolls as possible, because that means an extra layer, and the more layers you get, the flakier the pancake is. So it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of filling poking out, it all gets caramelized in that pan anyway, but just press it down to make it a little thinner. Now in different regions of China, they have it in different thicknesses. So some are really fine and some are a bit more of a cake and fat. Mine's a bit in between at the middle, but I'll just press it down to a little bit thinner and I'll roll out the rest and then we'll get frying. I think the weather's looking okay. I think I'll cook these outside. We'll see what the weather's like once I roll these out, but it'd be lovely to cook these on my cast iron pan on fire, over fire. Well, seeing as it all started off right here with this amazing kale, we might as well cook them in front of the kale. I hope you don't mind, but I must say, look how beautiful and abundant this kale is looking right now. I could make a whole load more kimchi with what's been pumped out, and it's incredible. I hope you don't mind me cooking in front of you. It's going to be lovely, I promise. I've used this kale to a spectacular standards. I think I've made it worthwhile collecting so much. So we want to cook these over a medium to low heat. I got to be careful on my fire that I don't burn them, so I'll be using it like a piano. I'll be moving it to a cooler area. Hopefully the rain doesn't dampen our spirits. Let's get them cooking. All right, let's get this on. Try and flatten it a bit more. The rain is coming down, guys, but it's okay. Typical raining in Wales. We haven't had We've hardly had any good sun this year, guys. It's July, and we've probably had about 4 good days of sun all year. I'm just letting you know, I will be leaving Wales in the next few years and starting my eco retreat abroad. So if you know any good areas of land in either Spain, Italy, Portugal, Jamaica, somewhere else in the Caribbean, I'm all ears. I would love to bring something beautiful to your place. And I need sun. I want to grow food all year round. Yeah, boy. It may be raining, but it's not stopping us. We're pretending like it's summer. All right, this is looking lovely and crisp and flaky. That's the most important thing, despite the rain. I'm gonna get this on a tray and just underneath there whilst we cook the rest to keep them dry, and then we'll serve and taste. Last one in. All right, whilst that last one's cooking, I'm gonna chop up some green onion tops really fine, and that's what I'm serving my crazy kale kimchi pancakes with, along with a little soy sauce dressing. All right, let's serve up. Get out of this rain as well. That looks incredible. Oh, so many layers. Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh my God. That dough is just so light and crisp, so many layers, but you're just hit with this power from that kimchi, the crazy kale kimchi. So simple to make, the power of fermentation just taking flavor to new levels, and inside this crispy layered pancake. Oh, unbelievable. Obviously, full written recipe as always is on the website. Click the link beneath this video. I am going to be making this crazy kale kimchi all the time from now on, because this is sensational. Wow.